Bitcoin or real estate?
Real estate, obviously. I like things I can touch.
Tenants just moved in. Time to let the cash flow begin.
I haven't heard from the tenants in a while. Just checking in. I'm sure everything's fine. Probably just not home.
You said Friday. It's Monday. I've got bills to pay. Being a landlord builds character. Evicted them. Took 3 months. Now 12 grand in repairs and 0 rent the whole time.
I could have just bought Bitcoin and slept peacefully.
Who's ready to become a landlord today? Anybody? Anybody in chat? I hope you guys are having a good one. We got Bitcoin. Bitcoin actually looking all right. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see what I believe is a bullish pennant. I probably need to draw it better. Let me just do this real quick here. 1 second, guys. Just need to make sure I do this here. All right, so that's kind of what I'm seeing, which we like. We like bullish pennants. It means the breakout is to the upside. Boom Shakalaka says, Reef Cat. Ale, what's up? Oscar. Dark Lorder says, DYNX. Need to let the dust settle first. Day of SPACs, usually a shitload of sell pressure. Yeah, we seem to be having a lot of treasury companies, SPACs. We actually have Scott Besson talking right now on CNBC too. We just had Tom Lee recently. We probably need to take a look and see what Tom's talking about today and what earnings are looking like. We'll do all that. Also, CNN Fear and Greed, we got in the stock side of things, still on the edge of extreme greed. But if you look over here on Coin Market Cap's crypto Fear and Greed, it actually almost made its way back to the neutral section, just sitting a little bit within greed at 67. A great place to be because, again, if you look at historical tops in the recent period of the last few years, you'll see that, and that's not even cycle tops, you'll see that we can get pretty deep into extreme greed for a period of time. And I think that's what's happening right now. So I'm very excited about that. Let's look over here. We got Trueflation sitting at 2.05, a nice inflation number, still sitting in a good place. Let's go ahead and refresh and see what we're going to have for economic data points today. Redbook, nothing too exciting there. Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index. So the previous numbers were horrific. We'll see. These are forecast to be slightly better, almost to the positive territory for manufacturing index, the shipments index, and the services revenue index. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. That's not until 9, though, so probably just be reporting on X for that because I'll be out by 8:30. I have a busy day today. In case you missed it, I did get we got the offer accepted, and we're giving some earnest money today, and have to get an appraiser going. I guess that's being handled by the mortgage broker, but also inspections done too. So trying to formalize a bunch of that, have work being done on my front porch to get ready to put a heat pump system on that to make it 4-season for my parents when they move in, and a bunch more stuff. Lots of things happening, so going to be very, very busy. I did get a chance, though, guys. I did update in Discord a whole bunch of different, and it looks like some of these things have been moved around, but I updated a whole bunch of the Bitcoin treasuries, Ethereum treasuries, and Solana treasuries. So all those things have been added, and you'll be able to find them. I don't know where they've just been put. Somebody moved some stuff around, I guess. I don't know. I don't know where my things just went. Maybe they're down here under the alphabetical side of things, but they are in there. So take a look at that. All of those should be in there and now available to you to be able to utilize and reference. Let me just scroll down here real quick. I did not update the portfolio. I will try and do that soonish. Again, just very busy right now. My life is chaotic. And next Wednesday is when I have my surgery now, as long as they don't put that off. So I think Tesla pumps. I think Tesla looks really good too, guys. All the charts look great. We posted about this a couple of days ago, but again, this looks pretty close to breakout territory. I have 300,000 plus in cash that I won't need right away, so I might actually be buying some of this today. We'll see. But yeah, this looks really good to me. It looks like a left shoulder. It looks like the head. It looks like the right shoulder. Nice, tight, and concise, and very wicky up here, right? Like very strong movement up. Then it went down, bounced pretty good here, went down again, bouncing pretty good off of that. I would say I think Tesla is pretty close to its washout moment and that we're going higher. I'd say a lot of the market is going higher. Also, real quickly, I see Smarter Web in the the UK side of things down 14% in pre-market. Not a super great number. I think it's just going to be testing the lows again. I think one of the reasons it's doing that is one that we bought into pretty heavily last week, Sequoians. This is the one with Ben Workman. They more than doubled their Bitcoin stack. So they're up 15% almost in pre-market. And this is a retracement image. I probably actually need to change this real quick. Let me do that super fast because I don't think a fib retracement really counts anymore. I thought I saved this, but maybe I didn't earlier before I rebooted my PC. So I think probably what we're looking at now is fib extension territory. I'd say it's pretty safe to say these guys are now 20 in BTC holdings, which is just a crazy number, in the top 20 already in just a very short period of time. So again, they're sitting right about here. And I'd say that I think that took a lot of thunder out of the Smarter Web company right now too, that is sitting further behind than these guys. So we got a little bit of a breakdown. I do want to say this though, we've got wicks that keep pulling us up into what looks to be a bullish pennant as well. So I do think this is possible, that we could still break out higher from this. You got to realize this thing already saw a drop of 67% almost, 2/3 of the way down, and a lot of the Bitcoin treasury companies are washing out a little bit this morning, just because I think Solana and Ethereum are taking so much of the thunder right now. If we look at them, I'll just read it off real quick here. So Solana is up. Well, here, I'll show you this one while I talk through some of the others. Solana is up almost 6% today. Looking really good. This is kind of a weird pattern, and I kind of hate to draw it this way. But again, this downward trend, you can see where we bounced off of it. This downward trend started a long time ago in 2022. Turned into support over here. We started to break up. Everybody got excited about Solana. Then it just got crushed, back tested, and then now we're breaking out. So it's kind of like a weird shoulder, head, shoulder, inversed. But again, this is breaking up. Once we get above like 205 and turn that into support, it's off to the races on this one. I actually think we can go pretty high on this one. I've got to update the charts on it. But yeah, I think some of the movements that we can see on this are anywhere. I don't know if it's 535, if 1200 is realistic, but 1000 is probably very realistic. So a 400% increase in this one. And then again, the measured move for the fib extension is a little bit lower than that, sitting at the 260, 270% mark. But this chart looks beautiful. And this morning, SOLT, the 2X fund for Solana, is up 16%, liking that. DFDV, that is another Solana fund. I'll just show that real quickly here. It actually has done a great job back testing previous resistance and now popping up. Again, this looks like something where it's a bullish pennant that's breaking out and has confirmed the support zone. I'm actually going to turn the screen. I feel pretty confident about this one. And now we're up here. And so we're looking to go up quite a bit on this one. I probably need to save this. I don't think this saved from earlier too. Let me do this. I realized my computer was basically on all weekend, and I didn't want to have the session freeze up, so I rebooted, but I must not have saved all of my charts before I did that, which sucks. But you can see the golden retracement zone for this one is like in the 220 realm, which is significantly higher than where we are right now. So there's some good stuff. And again, guys, in Discord now, you'll be able to find these. I don't know. The charts might have gotten messed up for location. I might have to. I don't know. I don't know if I like how those are being presented. I had them under the category of Jesse's current stocks, current holdings, and I think somebody moved them. So I might try and put that back. I do think I'm just going to leave it at the golden retracement zone because this is too crazy otherwise. I do think that a 700% increase is very possible, especially with what Solana is doing. If it reaches some of the low to mid targets, it's going to be looking real pretty. So Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm stoked for Solana right now. I'm stoked for Ethereum. I know we're going to be hearing so many people talking about shitcoins. And let me look here real quick. I'm going to type in the word altcoin. I want to see how these are doing. Oh, it's so tiny. I might have to take the word Bitcoin off of it. Let me do that real quickly just for a second and see what we get here for noise. So this is pretty interesting. Guys. So July of 2025 projected final readings are above what we saw in the last cycle in 2021. Again, I think that one got kind of neutered. And then second to the great 2017 shitcoin bubble, the biggest. I mean, I think everybody came in at that point. I know I did. Pretty amazing stuff that we're seeing this right now. I'd say it's a pretty positive sign that we have flipped into full shitcoin euphoria. And I think the smarter web company is going to continue to bounce. I've got 300,000 in cash, guys, conveniently, and I don't need all of it right now. So I might buy the dip. I might buy the dip in a number of these things. We'll see how everything plays out today, but I might just buy some dip because it's looking juicy today on a few of these names. And again, I'm very excited about where we're headed right now in markets. I think that the good stuff is directly in front of us, and the next couple of months are going to make a lot of people very, very rich. Let me look at chat here. Niraj says, good morning, gang. Please hit the like button for Jesse. I appreciate that. Robertus, good morning, Jesse. And it looks like a lot of people saying hi. Balls of steel, balls of something. Can't wait for my surgery actually to be done so that we can get that over with. Let's real quickly. Again, I don't like to share off all this stuff, but I'm not on that many days. So you guys get a little bit, and my buddy Tom doesn't seem to mind. It looks like we have 112 companies reporting this week. Of the 59 companies that have reported so far, 12% of the S&P 500. Overall, 86% are beating estimates, and that beat is a median of 4%. That's come down a little bit since the very beginning of the earnings cycle, but it's still really great. You want to see 86% beating when you've already got 12% of the S&P reporting, so that's good stuff. Of the 14% missing, they're only missing by a median of -3. Top line overall results beating estimates by a median of 2% and missing by a median of -1, and 83% of those reporting beating estimates. That's all good stuff. So this looks really good for earnings so far. I'm just going to refresh again. I want to see if there's any new videos from our boy Tom Lee. We got Sean Farrell in here. This might be interesting. He said trimming big winners. And again, in the altcoin market, things have just gotten absolutely absurd. Everybody's going to be telling you about their favorite shitcoins right now. It's going to be ridiculous. Crypto Powell Epstein dominated DC. All right, I want to go up here. We're going to listen to Sean Farrell for a second, I think. I want to hear what he has to say. All right, 1 second here. Turn off captions.
Hey everyone, this is Sean Farrell with your crypto comments. Today's Friday, July 18th. Got a bit of a long video today. We'll try to keep things as concise as possible. We want to talk about some changes that we made yesterday. We sent around a note yesterday evening, made some changes in our crypto equities portfolio, small changes, as well as in our core strategy. So we did make the decision to remove SBAT. In our view, I think, this along with BitMine, they both obviously carved a path as the market leaders in the ETH treasury space. But, yesterday at, this almost $35 a share price, and at current ETH prices.
So we'll listen to what he has to say, but keep in mind too that SBAT did fill a really large daily gap last Friday after dropping 20%, and it is up almost 9% in pre-market. BitMine immersion too is sitting up about 4.89%. Game is up about 7.24. So we are seeing some rebounding this week. And again, I took some profits too. I took about 40% of my profits in SBAT and moved some of that to BitMiner just because I wanted to be able to diversify a little bit and be in Tom Lee's fund because I think they're going to be aggressive at buying.
We got up to an MNAV multiple of 4.7x, which look, I'm sure over a long enough time period, SBAT will still do well. But the risk reward here, especially given the fact that it's 4x since we put out our note on SBAT, I think this is probably a great place to book some gains, and we'll keep an eye on this multiple, and should it compress, we'll look to opportunistically add it back. In terms of core, and just to round that out, I think if you're looking for a place to add, we talked about this a few weeks ago, but I do think Galaxy here still offers a pretty compelling risk reward. I think you've seen the market finally come around to the fact this week that they do have a burgeoning data center business and deals with CoreWeave, and that is going to be a huge moneymaker for them. And I think we're starting to see a re-rating on that front. And so, out of all of the opportunities here, it seems like a pretty good one. So we moved that 250 bips to Galaxy. So moving on to the core strategy portfolio, this was another name that we
Tesla looking real good.
Took gains on. That is Bonk. We wrote about this last Friday. It was a quick mover. The whole premise was around a re-rating following the Pump.Fun token launch, and the fact that Bonk does maintain majority market share of the meme coin launchpad space. And you can see here that they have maintained that majority market share through today, even after their hackathon ended at the beginning of July. And so that is great for Bonk, but we have flown quite far rather fast. And, I think that this name probably does cool down a bit. If you circle back to our initial analysis and update this with current figures, there's, the numbers still suggest that there's significant upside, around 85% here. But from my perspective, after 75%.
Yeah, I think it's up 156% in a month, less than a month, a couple weeks.
Gain in a few days and 3x over a few weeks. Again, I just find the risk reward less enticing, and so we reduced our exposure in the core strategy. We did remove Jito. Look, I've spoken with the Jito team on several occasions. I've spent a lot of time investigating this project, and I do think that this is one of the best teams and projects in the space. From my perspective, I just think that right now the market is still moving through. He's going to go
through too deep into shit coins, and I don't want to go there. So we're probably going to skip the rest of this here. It looks like it's all shit coins right now. I thought he was going to maybe look at the markets at a broader view, and it doesn't look like he is. So we'll probably move on from that. Real quickly here, I want to jump over. Yeah, so Ethereum treasuries. I want to show this real quick. So total ETF ETH holdings are at 5.24 million. So on the ETF front, it is pretty robust. The ETH reserve, total strategic reserve, is 1.76 million. And if you look here, yes, that's essentially the Bitcoin treasuries. There's currently 56 participants in it, and the number has grown exponentially since April. There was like 113,000 ETH between 5 entities, and now we're sitting at, again, the 1.76 with 56 entities gathering up Ethereum like crazy and fighting for the lead, which is pretty awesome. I think we're going to see a lot of that. I think we're going to continue to see that with Solana. We're going to continue to see that with Bitcoin treasuries. And they're just going to jockey back and forth going up. I did want to point out this, though. There's something called ultrasound money. I don't think Ethereum is ultrasound money, but what I wanted to point out here is that the inflation rate of Ethereum is affected by the mechanics of the network right now. There's something called the burn and the merge, where we went from proof of work to proof of stake. And then also the burn was implemented. So the proof of work to proof of stake, you can see what the inflation rate looked even after implementing the burn. It was a lot, right? You can see how much the supply went up in this visual image. After the merge, when they stopped doing proof of work, the issuance dropped severely. So you still have the burn in effect, and the burn for Ethereum is that if the network gets really congested, they'll actually start deflating the supply of Ethereum, and instead of having an inflation rate, it will actually become deflationary. And so you can see how the mechanics of this over a short period of time, if this network does become congested, which I think it can in the next couple of months, could really help the multiplier to the upside as the narrative of Ethereum becoming deflationary kicks in. And if you even look since the merge, it shows the year-over-year average inflation rate at 0.8%. And if we adjust over here to, like, let's look at the last week, you can see it's been 0.67%. So it's actually even lower in 30 days, 0.718%. So it's been lower than the inflation rate of Bitcoin. So I think the mechanics of this are really good. Whoa, we have Sailor bought 6,220 Bitcoin. Let's look that up real quick here. That's crazy. That's such a huge amount. These numbers, guys, are only going to end up helping everybody. And if you guys get a post too, While I'm doing the live stream, it's really hard to look all this up. But if you guys get a post referencing one of these treasury companies making an announcement of purchases in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, whatever it is, please let me know. It looks like HODL, Noric. These are all like the companies just adding BTC. There's so many, it's hard to keep up with. Look at this real quick here. So, oh, this is the top 21. It says here 74 for the what this week. HODL Nordic top 21. I don't know what that means. Do you guys know what this means? Oh, like the region. I gotcha. I don't care about that. Do not give a shit about that. All right. But yeah, if you guys find any other notes referencing more acquisitions, please throw them out in chat. Love to see it. Aspen currently has 369,000 Ethereum, unofficial yet till tomorrow. Yeah, we haven't gotten the updated number, but you're right. I think that is where they're sitting. So now SBET is back above Bitmine in a big way, but I don't know if Tom Lee is going to leave that standing. And yeah, it's just, let's real quickly, I want to look at this. Ethereum is a chart I want to look at. We haven't pulled it up yet. I want to speak to it real fast. So what's exciting about Ethereum right now, guys, is that it's literally sitting in a breakout zone of an almost 5-year downtrend where that has been touched multiple times, and now we're touching it again. This just looks incredibly exciting. What's the market cap on DYNX, guys? What is the market cap on that one, and what are they sitting on? But so we're looking at a 5-year trend that's getting ready to break. This thing could launch us up to 6,300 just to hit the next fib line. So that's a crazy move. Again, the measured move for this cycle, I have us peaking between 10,000, and this is going up quite a bit higher towards the 19,000. I don't think that's legit. I'm probably going to keep it at the cap of what Tom Lee has around 15,000. I don't want to go much beyond the bullish Tom Lee. But I believe at 10 to 15 is pretty easy. I don't think $1 trillion cap on Ethereum is insane by any means. I think that's very much probably going to happen this cycle. And it's crazy to think of, but once that does peak, I think that money will rotate into other shitcos as people are looking to dial the risk curve and try and find a greater yield or a greater return on their investment. DYNX around 3 million. That doesn't make any sense. Market cap 226 million. Okay. And what do they have for holdings? Do you guys know? DYNX, is that Solana or is that Ethereum? Which one is it? Let me look it up. I can add it here. Let me make a copy real fast and just take a look. Do I even have that one already? I'm trying to get better at adding these into Discord right away. What are the targets for BMR SBET if ETH really goes to 10K? Those are sitting in Discord. Again, they don't change much from what I was just looking at a minute ago. Let me see here. I don't know if I have... I just have them as retracements right now because I'm trying to find a bottom. I'll update those with the Fibonacci extensions once I feel 100% confident that we found the bottom. Claims to have 1.3 billion. Oh, is this the new one? Is this the... I think I just posted about this one. Is this the one doing the merger? Is that what you're talking about? CleanSpark this cycle? I mean, I'm excited about CleanSpark because I think it's getting ready to break out. So I posted about this over the weekend too for subs, but I mean, we're getting ready to break out of a downtrend that's been going on for 16 months, almost 17. And we're right at the edge of it, right here, getting ready to break up. It's real easy to get to this other volume range around the 16s. And if we get above that and then get above like the 17 range, we will be breaking out of a downward trend that goes back much further to 2018 when this company was completely different than what it is now. But it's a really good technical breakout zone. And so, again, I think this cycle, this one is going to between 33 and 50. I think that's very possible, currently sitting at a $3.6 billion cap. When you look, doing a SPAC, reverse merger. So that's the DYNX one, doing a reverse merger. Do you guys know all the details of the merger? Jesse, if you had to pick one sole treasury, which would it be? I don't like to play that game. I diversify my risk, so I don't like the CYFRF, the Sole Strategies one, because they were muddying their waters and going into different things. I do like DFDV, and I like UPXI. They're both pretty similar. UPXI is getting ready to do like a major breakout to the upside. I also own SOLT, which is just a simple 2x fund of Solana, which is doing pretty good today too, up about 15% on the day. So on average, I'm probably up about 13, 14% between these three today. Jesse, if you had to, oh no, that was you. Ragu, yep, UPXI and DFDV, yep. Dark Lorder 88, publicly listed dynamics to merge to form the Ether machine. Yeah, okay, is that DYNX? So I don't know what the deals of all the merger look like as far as share issuance of the reverse SPAC. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. So you guys let me know. CEO was on CNBC an hour ago. Let's listen to him then. We have the ability to do that, right? Let me just pop this up here real quick and see if we can find out more. Oh, 1 second. Just refreshing here. What was his name? Genius Act, President Trump, top videos. You know, I feel like let's just do this real quick. We need to listen to Tom Lee. Just 1 second. Let's do that first. This is our video. Since he didn't make another video, we're going to do this one, okay?
Global advisors, head of research, probably not coming as a big surprise to you, Tom. You've been saying similar things, but one of the things you're emphasizing today, the most hated V-shape bounce in history, or at least in your young, but getting older life.
Yes, that's right. I think many people, when April happened and we had Tariff Armageddon and the market went into a free fall, investors liquidated because they thought we were entering a recession. But, and as you guys had covered, like the market then staged a V-shaped recovery, which caught many people off guard because they wanted to have a chance to get in. They wanted the stock market to be like a K-shaped or flat line. Instead, it was a V-shaped bounce. And so most investors are underexposed at the moment. And they're trying to look at headlines with a half-empty view. But as you guys know, earnings have actually been really resilient, and I think it tells a very good story.
Yeah, Dow's hasn't been hitting. It has hit a new high, but it hasn't in the recent session. But S&P and NASDAQ continue to do pretty well. So there is also a perception, Tom, that valuations have returned to levels that have people worried, and you are citing an equity-weighted S&P multiple. Explain that. Of what? What's the equity-weighted multiple right now?
Yeah, what we're saying is instead of someone saying, oh, the MAG is making the market expensive, let's just take the average PE of the S&P of every stock, and it was around 17.6 times in 2019. Now we've had 6 what I call extinction-like events, COVID, the bullwhip supply chain effect, inflation surge, Fed fastest hikes, Trump tariffs, and then, of course, U.S. bombing Iran.
6 of them, yeah, okay.
Yeah, all of them should have wiped out earnings, but the S&P earnings have grown, and yet the equal weight PE is now 16 times. So the market's gotten cheaper in the last 6 years, despite proving they can grow earnings through 6 extinction-level events.
Which is awesome. And again, there's so many positive things that are in the hopper right now that are going to help us even more. Real quick, Man Mahindra, thanks, dude. He said, Jesse wanted to thank you. Your portfolio touched 570K. Goal is $1 million. I paid off my parents' debt and sister's education thanks to you. That is fucking awesome, dude. I love that. And good for you on taking care of your family. It's the most important part. I saw Chicken Genius posting something like that too. Just literally saying that somebody asked, like, what was the coolest thing you bought with your money? And he's like, the best thing I did with my money was helping other people in my life. And I 100% agree with that. I think it's way more rewarding than buying a stupid car or something else for vanity. So that's really kick-ass, man. Good for you, bro.
The Mag 7, though, there was a journal article that says there's a real split between the Mag 7, those that are really doing well from AI and those that aren't. And if you look at the stock performances, I think Apple's down something like 16 or 18.
I'm sorry. Today just feels like one of those days where we're going to see some strong upside price action across the markets. And I don't know if it's Bitcoin's day for the treasuries or if it's going to be really focused on Solana and ETH. I'm just not sure right now, but it does feel like a strong day to the upside.
18%
Yes.
over the last year, while you have Microsoft and others that have really taken off. Do you think the Mag 7 stays together, or do we need a new terminology, a new grouping for leadership in the markets?
I mean, to me, the Mag 7 have become household names. You know, like Apple is Apple, and Google is Google, and we know the product and we know the stock. And I think they have really established themselves as consumer and business companies. And for me, Apple has been sort of quietly ready to pounce on AI, but I don't think they need to pay up for any of these models. So I think Apple is going to surprise people.
Yeah,
it's interesting. That's a contrarian viewpoint. People think Apple either
it could be washed
too
out.
far behind, or
but outside of my MacBook,
isn't going.
I don't love Apple at all.
To be able to get the talented ones. It's losing talent, not getting it.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't launch an iPhone until 2007, and mobile phones had been around for 15 years. But when they did enter that market, they completely transformed the marketplace. So to me, I think when they want to play big in AI, and when they do in that moment, I think they will change.
If Apple bought Bitcoin, that would be fucking awesome. That's probably the most innovative thing they've done in years, if that happens.
The game.
Well, so the question, though, is do you think that historically they've been able to do that because it's been a hardware game largely and a bit of software? I don't want to say the software is not a huge part.
After this, guys, Paul Atkins, the SEC chairman, is talking right now. We need to watch that too, and then we'll try and go back to the DYNX CEO. But we need to listen, because if you guys haven't heard this, 401ks, Trump is talking about making it to where they can invest in Bitcoin and some of the same stuff that we're talking about, just like IRAs. That changes the fucking game. So we need to listen to our new SEC chairman and what he has to say on that subject and others.
Part of it. But the question is whether you think the LLMs have become so advanced.
When will the Smarter Web Company and Metaplanet head higher again? I don't know. The narrative seems to be very much with Ethereum and Solana right now, and some other Bitcoin treasuries that are moving in fast. I think Bitcoin consolidates for a little bit here. If Bitcoin starts to get to its all-time high again in the 120s, then it's going to be very interesting. I do think Bitcoin's breaking out. I think everything is melting up. So it's just a matter of time. People need to be patient. I rotate funds, but man, you got to be patient. I'm adding out. I mean, I can't say this. I did sell a big chunk of Metaplanet, I think $300K. That was for the house. I don't need all that money right away. And so I might end up using some of that this morning to be able to buy the Smarter Web Co. And I'll let you guys know when I do. Jacob, thank you very much for the 50 gifted memberships. Everybody who receives one of those can now speak in chat. If you have any questions, throw it out. Let's listen to Tom Lee.
That to get there, you actually have to buy somebody else to do it, or you can actually catch up. I mean, that's the fundamental question underneath all of this.
Yeah, and it's also possible that LLMs all get so good that they are about the same.
Right.
And then Apple
gets commoditized. And
correct. And so then Apple comes in and says, look, we have our safety. Look, we're known for our safety rails, protecting your privacy, optimizing what you want to do, make your life better. And they might come out with a version that really
speed up, Thomas.
Makes heads spin. So I think that I'm not ruling out Apple just because they're a little late.
What do you make, by the way, there's some speculation over the weekend, some reports about the first real Apple foldable phone this fall. Would you buy a foldable phone?
Yeah, I mean, I'm...
Big market in China, by the way. People in China seem to love foldable phones.
I love my foldable
I think what
phone.
I found is when you offer someone a bigger screen size, you're pushing them more towards computing and something much higher capability. And with AI, we might want some of that augmented kind of reality. So maybe the time is right for, a foldable phone. And again...
I'm sorry. Are you able to do both? You have been. You're going to continue this?
Yes. Fundstrat clients know my goal is to make them.
I mean, I just got the Fold 6 like 4 months ago, so I'll probably give it a week. But yeah, I'm probably getting the Fold 7. I'm not going to lie.
Find them good ideas and make them money. And now I want to do that with shareholders.
Thanks,
I am dedicated to delivering a great return for anyone who invests in any of our ideas, including whether it was our granny shots, which is outperforming year to date and almost 1.9 billion of AUM after 8 months. And now with BitMine, I am dedicated to really making this one of the best performing stocks.
Love that. That's why I diversified into it too. I just think I think that SBET and BitMiner could jockey back and forth and both do really well. Talk about GameSquare. Yeah, we can talk about it. I'm hoping they bought more. They're up about 9% in pre-market. The chart does look really good. We'll look at some more of that in a little bit. I am May. Thank you very much for your membership. Sign up. I appreciate it. You can talk and chat now.
People need to, we don't have time to go into exactly how that works, but here we are 120 basically on Bitcoin, which you used to say at 70, and you know that was a 60% move or something that you were forecasting as within the next couple.
Smarter Web appears to be bouncing in pre-market, at least in the UK. It's down about 11% right now, so that might not be down for too long. I think everything's just kind of getting driven up.
For months, or at least this year. Here we are now, what, 150?
I think the 200 to 250,000 for Bitcoin still makes sense because that would still only value it at 25% of the size of the gold market.
Okay.
So I think digital gold means Bitcoin should be worth over $1 million per Bitcoin, and it could happen in the next few years. But maybe pricing 25% of that, especially with Genius Act, makes sense.
Are you going to, I don't know, start making comments and recommendations about stable coins?
Yes. I mean, in a sense, stable coins are...
I mean, stable coins are meant to be stable and follow the U.S. dollar, so maybe not too many comments on them outside of, like, whether or not they're following government regulation and onboarding back to the United States, which Tether, I think, it has a 3-year plan. I think everybody has the ability to work in the markets as long as they're transitioning to that and ensuring compliance over the next 3 years.
The ChatGPT moment for crypto because businesses like it and consumers are adopting it, and now we see JP Morgan and Citi and getting into the stablecoin market, and the Genius Act, of course.
How would you play that?
Well, Circle is one way because it is, a standout company. They've done really well. But Ethereum is really the way to play stablecoins because
he's just going to pump the shit out of this.
Majority of stablecoins are created on Ethereum. It's over 30% of its network fees. And if Scott Bessent's right in it, he says now it's close to a $4 trillion market. That's exponential growth for Ethereum.
Ether has taken off recently. It was down at 1,700 or something like a month ago or 2 months ago.
Yes.
Now it's back almost, 36 or something?
Oh, we're going to make so much money.
That's right. And I know Mark Newton, our head of technicals, thinks it's 5,000's doable near term.
Wait, what about Cantor Fitzgerald? Seppo, this is the Seppo part. Seppo, Adam Beck, and Cantor, $4 billion BTC and SPAC. Seppo will be BSTR. Can you look at Seppo's chart? Yeah, remind me a little bit later. Yes, and we can.
But if you value it similar to Circle.
Again, it's understanding the deal too, because it hasn't happened yet. And so this, like all these SPAC reverse merger things are very important to understand because you could buy the fuck into them like crazy and then all of a sudden realize that you're in a world of hurt because of the dilution that's going to occur from the merger. DFDV just bought 141,383 SOL.
It's over.
Wow.
It's more between 10 and 20,000.
You give a rat's patootie about August 1st? Does anything change with that for you?
Well,
a new month.
Yes.
Is that that's what you're gonna? That's your answer? Well, it's a new month.
Yeah. I mean, I think that on the half full, the tariffs are really good for the budget. So, and companies are managing through these now, and they're pretty significant now. And it's not inflation. They're not talking about it as inflation. So that's the half full.
Do you have the post?
But you're right. Maybe August 1st gets pushed again, and that would also be positive.
All right.
More on the market.
Let's do this real quick here. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to pause that. I do want to hear from our new SEC chairman because I think this is an important conversation. This has a little bit of Trump signing. You got to realize this, guys. So we've got Trump this week. We have him signing the Genius bill. That happened. That passed the House and Senate and was on the president's desk. But it's really important that you understand. Thank you for tagging me, Berto. It's very important for you to understand that market structure bill has not passed, and that is still in the side right now, getting ready to pass probably this week. and that's called the Clarity Act. So that'll be a really good one. Oh, beautiful. Yep. Let's spread the news here, guys. That's fucking awesome. So DeFi Dev acquires 141,000, now holds almost 1 million, Solana worth 192. So this is, I don't even think this news is hit yet. I don't think anybody's even seeing this yet, but they will be very shortly. Let's jump back over here, though, and listen to Trump and then our SEC chairman. You guys can see, if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see how Bitcoin is doing a great job bouncing off of peak volumes on the local time frame. It really has been building that up very healthily, and it's looking to pop here, which is wonderful. So maybe it takes the lead for a minute after altcoins just crushed it this weekend. Oh, better get volume here.
Welcome back to Squawk Box. At the White House on Friday, President Trump signing the Genius Act, which establishes for the first time federal guardrails for stablecoins.
For years, you were mocked and dismissed and counted out. You were counted out as little as...
Trump is retweeting really good explanations that happened in front of the Senate years ago about Bitcoin, too. It's just, there's so much upside in front of us.
A year and a half ago, but this signing is a massive validation. And even before this signing, over the last year and a half, I think your stuff has gone up more than any stock, or just about more. A couple of...
Clarity Act is about market structure, and just think of it this way: it involves banks and their ability to custody and just all the bells and whistles and the behind the scenes stuff for integrating this with our financial system. Just think of it that way, and that's going to happen this week. I think that had already passed. That had passed the House last week. It had to go back and be revisited in the Senate to pass there, and I think that's going to happen from everything I'm seeing. But we're going to listen to the SEC chairman comment on it in a second.
Stocks that were pretty good, I will say, but
And so, guys, here's just so you understand it. This is the sequence of events, and we've been talking about it for a long time. Genius Act gets passed for stable coins. Market Structure Clarity Act passes. Then we're going to be looking at the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve Bill. We also have other stuff. Again, they're working on making it to where 401ks can invest in all kinds of things, including Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's going to be huge in and of itself. They're looking at changing the de minimis rulings where you can spend $600 worth of your Bitcoin without having to worry about incurring a tax. There's possible changes with capital gains that are coming. This is a reworking of the investment infrastructure of America to help create rocket fuel to make people rich by investing in America. Remember, guys, the $1,000 per kid that they're going to be given at birth for the years going forward here to get it to where they're not dependent upon Social Security, and they can end that in the future, which is a huge liability for the U.S. government right now. And so we're trying to wean people off of shitty systems that are inefficient and don't really invest well in America, like Social Security, and get it to where young people are invested in America, and people, even in their 401ks, have real alternatives to shitty funds that give very horrible yields. We are reworking everything right now. The investment landscape is changing forever, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
You have certainly, as an industry, gone up more than anybody.
Joining us right now is SEC Chairman Paul Atkins, and we welcome him to the broadcast this morning. It was nice to see you in person at this table just a couple of weeks ago. This bill now officially in the books. How does it change things? And how does it change things for you in terms of the assets that you think are going to come into the market that you will ultimately need to regulate in the public sphere, if you will?
Well, thanks, Andrew, and it's great to see you again, and thanks for having me back here again. So I thought this was a really great watershed and thanks to the President for his leadership and the Congress for getting this out and getting that bill to the President's desk for signature. I think this bill the Genius Act is focused on payment stablecoins, and so that's not really within the SEC's ambit gamut of regulation, but it's really for the banking regulators, as is appropriate. But the one great thing about this is that for the first time now, the United States government has put its stamp of approval on a very key and important, potentially very important digital asset that will, I think, help to lower costs, lower risks in the market, because we can now move towards an instantaneous almost settlement of payment versus delivery for securities, thanks to on-chain stablecoins. And that will help, I think, innovation and to really get our markets, to be the best in the world.
What's the role, therefore, of the SEC to push exchanges
a little more boring,
and all the other financial middlemen effectively to settle basically all transactions at what might be described as T0?
I want to talk about something real quickly in regard to just remittances and paychecks and the current financial system in regard to credit cards. There is something like the processing fees, guys, right now that are paid annually between all these different mechanisms that can be lowered substantially for people across the United States. I remember seeing some figure around $1 trillion in regard to remittance, payments, all these things between credit cards, banks, all the money that and processing that they're doing behind the scenes that's really frivolous and a waste and just really middleman bullshit. $1 trillion in waste every year. Think about what happens if that goes back to the end consumers and the companies that deserve that money because people are buying products at their store. Think about how much changes when we eliminate the middlemen and get rid of that bureaucracy and instead allow people to be able to keep more of their money. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
Yeah, well, potentially, that's where we're going. Now, there are a lot of things that need to be worked out, and of course, to have some ability there to prevent fraud and in the marketplace, with respect to instantaneous settlement. Those things can be worked out as the marketplace adapts to that potential. But we've seen, and as far as now we're at T+1 settlement, and so of course, again, almost instantaneous delivery versus payment is something that people have dreamt about for many, many decades now.
I mentioned T0. That means effectively instantaneous settlement. T1 means a day, just for those, so we can explain it to the audience. Let me ask you a separate question. There was a report last week that has a lot of people buzzing about 401k plans and the possibility of including private companies meaningfully inside of 401k plans, and therefore what that does to even your job, because historically one of the reasons that private companies have not been in these plans is that they don't have this.
Real quickly, Amit says, but also good to know that much of the credit card fees goes towards customer retention, rewards, compliance infrastructure. They don't really. There is some, but if you look at the inflation rate of like reward points, it's fucking ridiculous. So most reward programs are absolute trash, because if you actually hold the reward points, they'll inflate in some cases by 50, 70% a year. So the longer you hold them and wait, the less buying power you actually have. So again, they do use some of that for customer retention and all this other stuff, but I would just rather keep all my money personally. I think that's a much better use of it. And again, it's not even just for this. It's also just for the checks. Think about all the remittance, like ADP employment and like getting your check, and just all the middlemen that get to keep so much money and pocket so much in regard to remittances and moving money around, whether it's credit cards, checks, whatever it is. It's just all really archaic and very fucking expensive. And when you eliminate all of this garbage and all the overhead, you're going to make a much healthier country, and it's going to be sweet.
Same kind of disclosure requirements that a public company does.
Yeah, well, thank you, Andrew. That's a really important point. And so the private markets have really grown a lot over the last, say, 30, 40 years, where there used to be primacy of the public markets for companies, including young companies, to try to seek capital for their research and development, to build factories and develop their products. Over the last 4 decades, the private markets have burgeoned, and there's a lot of capital there that provides through venture capital, through private equity, and now private credit more recently, a lot of ability for existing companies and startup companies to tap into all of that capital. There's a big demand from investors, individual investors, to be allowed into those marketplaces. There are a few ways for them to do it now, but the SEC has made it difficult in the past. So what we want to do is work with the Department of Labor and obviously at the President's direction.
Real quick, it looks like we got another buy here. Did you say UPXI has just done a big one too? There's going to be so many. I'm hoping Smarter Web gets some buys in here too. I love Andrew. Hopefully we get something like that. Do you guys, if you guys have a link, can you shoot it to me? Can you shoot it to me on this one? I'm going to get back over here and listen to the rest.
If and when an executive order comes for that. But regardless, we can work with the Department of Labor to help to have good guardrails for people to offer through various products that are registered for individual investors to put into their retirement plans. For long-term investment, we have to remember that these private funds we have issues regarding valuation, issues regarding liquidity, issues regarding fees, and that sort of thing. So we need to make it so that individual investors are relying on fiduciaries to help them put these sorts of products, if they wish, into their long-term savings and retirement plans, but to have appropriate guardrails around all of that so that people are not hurt in the process.
Philosophical and maybe practical question. If we go down this road, and by the way, there are some mutual funds already that have access or allow public shareholders or public investors to have access to private investments, for example, does that mean we think that there will be companies that will stay private for even longer? That's been an issue I know that you've thought about, because I think you want more and more companies to be able to go public. Or does a public and private company and what they look like and the disclosures around them almost converge in some kind of way long term?
Interesting.
Great point. And so who knows? But the thing that I do know is that over the last, say, 30, 40 years, the costs and headaches of being a public company have grown. And so, and the amount of capital on the private side has grown as well, obviously, and searching for good investments. So what I want to do is kind of level that playing field. The public markets, we need to rejuvenate them. I said on last time we were together, I'd like to make IPOs great again. And so...
oh, dude, merger and acquisitions and SPACs and all these things are going to be amazing. They're just rocket fuel to the upside.
So we need to do that through addressing issues like excessive disclosure. There's so much detail.
This is why everybody's reverting to SPACs, because it's such a horrible process for the IPOs. But SPACs also make it a little more sketchy. So it'll be nice when the IPO process is much better than what it is.
Out there that I think that we can make.
SPACs are just nice because, again, like listing wise, you can, if you incorporate with a company that already is on the S&P or whatever it is, and it's probably not going to be on the S&P, but let's say you're on the NASDAQ and you're getting a SPAC and it's already listed there, then you're going to have a lot greater liquidity and the ability for people to be able to invest in it than creating a new ticker on some one-off exchange.
Make much more rational litigation issues that scare people away from the public markets, and then finally governance issues as well. And so we can address those things through our regulatory power at the SEC to try to right-size this sort of marketplace.
This guy's going to be a much better chairman.
The other question revolves around liquidity, which is to say that private investments historically have not been liquid. There is this sort of effort to create these semi-liquid instruments. We've talked about BREIT being probably the biggest of them. It's a real estate investment fund, effectively, that's run by Blackstone. Has a semi-liquid piece of it. There was a period of time where it wasn't actually as liquid as it should be.
I think I'm done with this part of it. Let's just move this out. I will refresh it. I know we were looking to I'm just going to mute this, switch it to live so I can keep an eye here. Who's talking? Judy Shelton, Institute of Senior Fellow. She's kind of cool. But we are looking for a very specific video, right? We're looking for this merger video. Let's see if we can find it. Quantum computing is the most radical in history. Okay, all right. Investors need earnings growth in Europe. Pre-market rundown. Women. LVMH. Treasury Secretary. The Besson interview was pretty good, but nothing really too riveting coming out of it. Let's see what else we have here. Waris Bukhari using AI as an appeal to health. Let me see if I can find this. Stellantis. Tariffs. Sonald AI. U.S. Consumer. Genius Act. Ooh, here we go. I think this is it. Let's listen to this one. This is the new company that's going to do, what is it called? Ether something. It's going to be like some huge, the Ether Machine. The Ether Machine. I like the name. Let me get some volume here. Where is the volume? Why are we not seeing that? This shouldn't be muted. Unmute tab.
Andrew Keys is co-founder and chairman of the Ether Machine. Good morning.
Hey guys, real quick, 1,272 people. That's some pretty record-breaking stuff. If you guys could make sure to like and comment, and then also on X, if you could add comments and share on there, that would be awesome. I'd love to get above 1,300. We're so close.
To you. This is sort of a fascinating transaction and a new fascinating public entity, if you will, that gives access to public shareholder or public investors into the Ethereum world without actually buying Ethereum directly. I want to understand sort of the mechanics and idea behind it, and then I want to dig in to how it all works.
Well, first, thank you all for having me. Appreciate
Mike,
being
please.
Here. So I think before we even get to the Ether
Mike,
machine,
please.
we should probably talk about Ethereum.
Fix this mic.
Bitcoin, which you all know.
Boca Raton. I've been there a bunch of times.
Has one asset on it.
There we go.
Bitcoin that can be moved from peer to peer.
Right.
But Ethereum can tokenize any asset. And with that, we're seeing product market fit with stablecoins.
Right.
So the majority of stablecoins are being generated on top of Ethereum. And Ethereum is able to embed any type of digital asset, a bar of gold, a barrel of oil, a stock, a bond, a derivative, and then embed those into digital legal agreements. And in doing so, you're able to expedite the velocity of money. You can have employment contracts that get paid by the minute, as an example.
So, but just so I understand, let's just talk about this particular transaction. Sure. There's a blank check company, a SPAC, effectively.
Yep.
And then there's your business.
Yes, sir.
And you have something like $600+ million worth of Ethereum, which is from your own personal balance sheet that's going into this vehicle.
Correct. I wanted to lead by example. I'm not going to recommend anyone do something.
I'm sorry. Just in, Trump Media buys $2 billion worth of Bitcoin for its... Oh, yeah, guys. There's so much. There's so much going on right now. This is just, we're all on fire. People are like, oh, guys, a bubble is being formed. No shit. That's exactly what's happening. But we're at the start of the bubble. You want to be at the start of the bubble. That's the fun part. Okay?
That I wouldn't do. And we are going to actively manage Ether for institutional and retail investors and generate the highest possible yield within.
And why would somebody invest in and buy shares in this company, which effectively could be like a micro? Could I call this a micro strategy for Ethereum? I don't know if that's a fair way to, but why would I buy this company as opposed to just going off and buying Ethereum?
Are you still asking that question? Dude?
MicroStrategy is a buy and hold because Bitcoin doesn't have intrinsic yield to it. Ether is a productive asset, so we can generate yield by staking and participating in the decentralized financial economy.
For those who don't know what staking is, just explain it to the audience.
Staking is generating yield by securing the network and processing transactions. So in Bitcoin, you have proof of work mining, where you have hardware, real estate, and electricity that you have to spend. Ethereum doesn't need any of the hardware, real estate, and electricity, and does it much more efficiently.
Oh, I hate this argument so much, but whatever. I don't care. It's pumping my bags.
Through proof of stake. And we can generate yield intrinsically within Ether.
One of the things about a MicroStrategy, for example, is it is a levered vehicle,
narrative,
if you will. Will this be, quote unquote, a levered vehicle? Will you leverage up to buy more Ethereum?
We do have the ability to access the debt markets and the equity markets, and that's one of the advantages to a public vehicle.
And so, again, though, go back to the I could go buy some Ethereum on Coinbase if I wanted to, or I could buy shares in this new venture.
So if one were to purchase Ether, that would be like having a stock, but or the ETF right now, without access to the dividend. Ether produces yield.
That's a good talking point. So what he's saying is, guys, what sucks right now with these ETFs is that you don't get the yield component with it. And that's same with a Bitcoin ETF. That's same with an Ethereum ETF, Solana, whatever it is. You can't get the yield. It's one of the things that was passed along with, again, the Genius Act, and they're not giving you yield on the stable coins. All this stuff, you're not getting the yield, but when you buy the treasury companies, you are. That's a really good point.
If it's properly managed.
And that's what you call the Ether machine.
Yes. And so
Trump has like 90% of his net worth for his crypto portfolio in Ethereum too. So yes, he's saying buy Bitcoin, but he's also saying buy Ethereum over the short term, big time. I think that's why another reason why Tom Lee is so aggressive about it right now.
ETFs right now don't generate yield because they don't enable staking. And we're able to enable staking, and we're able to do other additional risk management on top of that.
And then again, Ethereum has the burn where the more aggressively people are purchasing Ethereum, it will actually potentially become deflationary, probably become deflationary this cycle. And people will harp on that narrative a lot, I imagine.
There has been some commentary, I think from Larry Fink or others, that you might start to see ETFs that actually can do some of the things you're talking about.
So we believe that they will eventually be able to enable staking, but we don't think that they'll be able to...
Not legislatively right now.
To stake at full capacity. And then furthermore, they're not going to be able to participate in the active management of the decentralized financial economy. So this is Ethereum staking plus participation in the DeFi economy.
So you're an Ethereum guy. Do you own Bitcoin?
I'm not. I do not own Bitcoin.
None.
I'd rather have an iPhone than a landline.
Ooh.
Oh, I don't like
that's
that
like a
comment.
sick burn, the kids might say. But the sick burn is that Bitcoin has done a lot better than Ethereum over the last decade.
That's wrong. Ethereum has 50x Bitcoin over the last decade. If the price of Ether per Bitcoin over the last decade is materially improved.
That's because Bitcoin is older than a decade, and the way economies of scale work, it got the majority of its gains from the beginning. I hate this kind of shit.
Over the last decade.
This guy, I'm not falling in love with him, especially the fact that he doesn't own Bitcoin or understand that Bitcoin, talking about it like a landline, fucking moron.
Since Ethereum started, you would be 50x wealthier had you owned
because it doesn't
Ether
include the
over
previous 10 years.
And that's just I hate this kind of stuff. I hate where he's playing with numbers. That's bullshit. He knows it's bullshit.
You're talking about just the last 10.
Since inception of Ether.
No, I know.
So since the Genesis block of Ethereum.
Well, then go back to the Genesis block of Bitcoin. And again, this isn't like him directly comparing Ethereum to Bitcoin is asinine.
But if you go from the original price of Ether to where it is now and go back to 50 cents for Bitcoin to where it is now.
Well, that's not the last 10 years.
Yeah, see, again, he's just, oh, fuck, I hate this guy. I don't like this guy.
That's what I said.
I don't like this guy.
So we can go back to maybe the origin.
The only time you could have it was since the origination of Ethereum.
Right.
It's materially outperformed.
Whatever.
Let me ask you a
like
different question just about the Genius Act. How much of that changes this?
So the largest beneficiary of the Genius Act is Ethereum.
Yeah, we saw that, Mike. That's
because
awesome.
the majority of stablecoins are deployed on top of Ethereum. Ethereum is experiencing power law dynamics where 90% of tokenized assets and stablecoins are deployed on Ethereum, similar to the power law dynamics of Google, where 90% of searches happen with Google. And Yahoo gets a small percentage, or Bing gets 1%.
What do you think the biggest risk is to this new business of yours and to Ethereum itself, which is to say, how much do you worry about some other coin or other kind of tokenization effort competing with Ethereum?
I don't worry about that because I think that Ethereum is the only blockchain that is able to be a substrate for the decentralized global economy due to the robustness. It's the only one with multiple clients and the ability to actually handle global throughput.
That's a weird comment. I don't know. This guy to me is a little bit sketch, guys. I don't love it at all. If you guys have were there more gifted memberships or that's from the 50. Okay. Yeah, you can thank who was that did that? Let's just go back here. That was Jacob. So thank you very much, Jacob, for the 50 gifted memberships. Real quickly here, I'm just going to go back. We're going to jump down through the list again. So for people who didn't catch it a couple of minutes ago, Trump Media announced it's purchased $2 billion for Bitcoin Treasury. Let's actually read it here. It says Trump Media. This is just on the 21st today. It says company has accumulated approximately $2 billion in Bitcoin and Bitcoin-related securities as a part of its previously announced Bitcoin Treasury strategy. I wonder what Bitcoin-related securities is. That could be a little bit of everything, right? MicroStrategy, a bunch of other stuff. UPXI bought another 100,000 SOL. Yep. That's pretty sweet. We're liking that. I think I got that post already. But yeah, they're up 13.53%. And then DFDV did another buy too. They're up 11%. And then Solt is up 15.89%. So again, Solana Treasury is doing really good this morning. Bitcoin not doing bad, or I'm sorry, Ethereum not doing too bad. SBET's actually outperforming, which is interesting. It's up almost 11% in pre-market, whereas BMNR is only up 2.88, and it looks like Game is up about 5.26. I'll bet you they bought SEP. Maybe. Yeah, that could be one of them. SEP looks like a good-looking chart too. Let's keep rolling down here. So again, here's the one from DeFi Dev with Solana. Buying 141,383 SOL. And then again, MicroStrategy buying 6,220 Bitcoin, which is amazing. It'll be interesting to see if Metaplanet and the Smarter Web Company have any buys at the same time. Otherwise, I could see them taking a little more of a hit today. People love to see the buys. They complain about the dilution, but they love to see the buys. My friend Mortensen Bach, he posted, macro should always be the back point of any analysis. Credit spreads remain the single most important component to monitor. Spreads just didn't move enough in Q1 to be an imminent, long-lasting recession. Meltup is still alive, and he was showing from February where he was talking about how it's really hard that the market take a giant shit when credit spreads are actually falling. And again, this is just a sign that the credit markets are still healthy, and I don't see any of that changing anytime soon. Posted a bunch of charts. Again, just showing some of my targets for Solana. This is my target for the cycle. I'm saying that we could be anywhere between 700 and 1,000 for the ultimate target. So I'm pretty bullish on Solana. It's much smaller, guys. If we look, and the shitcoins right now have done so well. Just look at this month time frame. I'll try and post it if I can drag it in here, right? This is a month in the shitcoin land for the top 100. If you look, bonk up 166%. Pingu, this is the stupid penguin. It's very popular with the forward guidance group. And now Tom Lee, I think his picture is literally one of these. So this doing quite well just from his presence. Doge is up 70%. All of the shitcoins are going up. And this is very dramatic for the markets and helping it go up as well. We're getting that breakout where BTC dominance is collapsing. I can actually show you some of that over here real quick here. So if you look here, this is the BTC dominance chart. You can see it's broken down pretty hard. This is peak volumes for the entirety of its existence, or at least since it was on major exchanges going back to 2016. And again, you can see how we broke down. Maybe we find some short-term support in the 53-54% range. But if you look here, you can see what happens when altcoin season kicks off. This thing plummets. BTC dominance drops a lot. You can see how far it fell here. You can see how far it fell here. And now we're doing that same thing. So I could see BTC dominance or dropping all the way down to the support level in like the 41-42% range. You'll see how it gets a little higher each cycle. But this will be something definitely to keep an eye on in the months ahead. I think will be just where support lands, and I'd say these two lines right here are really good ones. These two alerts are really good ones to follow in regard to BTC dominance. We start to get down to those ranges, and you might want to take a little bit off the table in regard to your altcoin exposure. Frothy market, greedy me up. Yes, definitely. Real quickly here, I think I'm gonna need to use the restroom for a second, so I'm probably gonna jump over here and might wait a second just to see if these guys come back. Let me look over at the economic data and see where we're sitting real quick here. It looks like, again, nothing important. We don't even get, Redbook is 7:55, so that's coming out in like 1 minute. We can take a quick look at it, but again, that's just some retail sales data. All of it's been pretty positive. I'm imagining it's still going to be positive today. Real quickly, where did I go with this? Over here. All right, this should be coming back in 2 seconds anyways. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just going to hit the restroom. 1 second, please. And I'll make sure that this has volume for when it does come back. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, it looks like that didn't come back, and it looks like I beat it here. So let me all right, there we go. I'm going to drag this down below. If you guys have any charts you want to look at, I'm going to kind of run through some of the other news-related events here. And I'm going to try and get better at bookmarks. I haven't been super great about that the last week or so, just because I've had so much going on that I'm trying to keep track of. RS, hey, Jesse, can you look at 3M8, please? This is SmarterWeb. Oh, yeah, that's SmarterWeb, what, out of Germany? Let me see. I think I already have that chart. Here's the SWC one. And again, we kind of broke down here. Even though I will say, if you look over here, each day it kind of crept back up. I think that's probably going to happen today, around the 357 mark. If we do that again and we end up wicking up here, that's probably a pretty good sign. Again, though, this is SWC. This isn't 3M8. Let me see if I have 3M8. And I might still have to add that one in Discord, too. Is it 3M8? 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 I don't. So let me add it real quick here. I'll just do that. Make a copy. 3M8. All right. That is it, right? 3M8, 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 3M8. SMC gonna get slammed, or SWC gonna get slammed today? Yeah, I mean, if these others are any indication, the UK market and this one, you're probably right. All right, let me see this one real quick here. I'll have to get this added on the other end. So this one's been an even shorter time frame. You literally have like no data to go off of, which is why I don't really like looking at a chart like this. SWC is a lot better because, again, you have the entirety of the time the company has been trading on the UK markets. But it's down 8%. Again, in the UK, it's down like 14%. In this market, it's down 8%. And we haven't opened up yet, but we will. So I can't really do anything off of this chart, though, because, again, it's just there's no real time frame off of it. The best chart, I think, is probably going to be this one right here. And let's just look here. Let's see in the daily time frame. Do we have any real gaps to fill? We don't. We really don't. And so this is on the daily time frame. This chart looks pretty good, honestly. There isn't much to worry about here. So, and again, let's just look at the Smarter Web company over here. Super fast. We can look at it for like the MNAV, days to cover. The MNAV on this thing right now is like 4.26. Historically, not a high number. If you look over here before it really had its launch, it was a 3.4, and then it got up to 17, and then over here it got all the way up to 21. I'm not saying it's getting to 21 again, but could it get up to like 7 or 8? I think pretty easily. And so again, and then they're going to be purchasing a bunch of Bitcoin. we're just waiting on updates for it. So this is still really good, and I think you're going to see more of this. I think you're going to see the trading in these ranges. Maybe it consolidates for a while. I'm not too worried about it. What I'm going to be doing again, I might even buy some more of this today. That's kind of what I'm leaning towards. I think Ethereum and Solana treasuries are going to do really good, and maybe we're just taking a break here. Where do you see SQNS going? I don't know. It depends on. It can go pretty high. Again, it's up 14% in pre-market. I think we can. I posted today that I think we can, in very short order, get back up to 649. This company, I want to say it's like 750 million. It's not right over here. This 68 million market cap. I don't know what that's represented in, but I don't believe that's right. I think it's closer to the 700s. If anybody could run those numbers too, and maybe even check on Grok, that would be great. But I think this is closer to 700 million for the market cap. But if you think about it, these guys are already number 20 on the Bitcoin treasury list. And so if you look over here, these guys with their more than doubling of their Bitcoin assets surpass Smarter Web, which I think is one of the reasons why they're taking a hit today, is because of the fact that Smarter Web has been growing at a nice little clip. Its market cap is pretty close to Sequoian's, probably a little bit higher right now. But then Sequoians just leapfrog them in regard to Bitcoin holdings. I do think, though, that Smarter Web is going to continue to accelerate and that it'll do really well. The race, though, for the top 20 guys is a very powerful one. We're going to see a lot of companies jockeying back and forth to grow their Bitcoin holdings. And all that does is just increase the amount of upside price action that we're all going to get. All right, let me check some of the comments here. RS said, hey, Jesse, can you look? Oh, that's the one we looked at. The CFox said, Ted, I think it's consolidating and folks might have moved capital from Sol Strategy to either Galaxy or UPXI, probably. Kirby Tex said, should we have a higher percentage of ETH and Sol treasuries than BTC? I don't think so. I mean, right now, that's probably over the very short term, that's probably going to be more beneficial, right? Which is why I didn't stop just at Bitcoin treasuries. This is why I've been stacking. This is why people were probably getting mad at me for selling MetaPlanet. I had 2 million in that at one point, and I've been selling it, and I was doing the same thing with these. I was adding the Smarter Web company. I was adding to all these Solana-related Bitcoin or Solana treasuries like DFDV and UPXI, and sold the 2X fund. And then again, I was adding to Game, BMNR, and SBET. And then again on Friday, I was adding to Sequoians because it just went down too much, and I know that they're very aggressive on their purchase schedule. Sam said, stepped away. Did Jesse already go over Game Square? I did not. I don't have too much to talk about with it right now. Again, they're doing more buys. I'll see where they are on the list here in a second. We can look at their chart too. I think I have about $250,000 sitting in this one. So there's a couple things that I like from the chart. Again, it made people said, well, why is it going down? Well, why is it going down? Maybe because it went from June 20th to July 9th, a period of a little over 2 weeks. It went up 321%. That could be why it was down. Now we're bouncing off of the golden retracement zone. This is the fib retracement, right? We came down to it. We wicked above, came down to it, wicked above, got right up to peak volumes, went above it, came back down, consolidated there, went up again trying to get above peak volumes, dropped back down, got to the golden retracement zone, stopped right there. Now we're up, just sitting right underneath peak volumes again. I think this is a nice consolidation pattern, and that it's going to look really good, and we're going to see upside price action. And so what I'll probably do here, because I do believe that's what's happening, I'm probably going to do this. I'm going to change this to a fib extension from a retracement, because the retracement is just not as applicable anymore. So we'll count it down here. And so what we're looking to do is get above the next fib level, which is at $1.92. And I think that could happen in pretty short order. We could probably do something like what we've done over here, where we quickly test up to the 280 range again, and then look to, third time's the charm, maybe break above it. So I think that from a technical standpoint, I think that's what we're looking at. BTBT, I never followed that one, but I will pull it up. I do believe I have it. I don't know if I've updated the chart in ages. This is back from when it was just focused on mining. Yeah, this chart is pretty wild. I'm probably gonna I'm going to do this. I'm going to switch things up a little bit. We're going to bring it over to here. Bring it down to, whoa, is it down way there? Oh, no. Okay, that's just peak volumes. Look at that volume. Look at that volume change there from just when they changed things out. Got quite the flush and then bounce. So again, this thing's kind of stopping where it would on the fib extension. It's a $1.23 billion company. I think that's the right cap. Let me know if I'm wrong. This does kind of look interesting, though. Again, we're above all peak volumes going back years, right? And so we're above all peak volumes, and we could run. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing in pretty short order gets back up to like 569, its previous all-time high, or its previous 52-week high on its price action. And then it's just going to be a matter of looking at resistance to the longer time frame. You can see how I don't know what they were. Were they actually Bitcoin mining in 2021? I can't remember anymore. I want to say they were. I want to say this is the peak, and I don't know how much dilution has happened over that time. It's probably a ton. But now they're an Ethereum miner. This thing could probably do well too. If we look over here, let's see where they are on this treasury strategy. Are they even in? There they are. So they're number 6 right now with 120,000 ETH, sitting at $1 billion cap. That's not a bad number. If you compare that to the amount of Ethereum that these guys are holding, even though these guys are probably 360 now, so about 3x the size, it's comparable, right? And market cap here, 1 billion. These guys are sitting at about 3x that, with about 3x the Ethereum. So could Bit Digital have a more aggressive purchase schedule just because or a higher growth rate, I should say, because they're so tiny? It's very possible. And so that might be an interesting one too. Let me see where Game is in this list, if it's even on it. Let me see here. Game. Right there. So 33 with 1,800 Ethereum, a much smaller number. But again, a market cap, it says, is 68.5 million. I don't know if that's what they're sitting on this morning. So this is one. Game is a very speculative one where if they're aggressive, and I will put Bit Digital, I'll keep it on my list, and I'll probably add it to the other stuff too. Game is one there that if they have a really aggressive growth schedule, it could go gangbusters. And I think we might still be very early. But again, the smaller cap you get, the more speculative you get. So you just have to remember that kind of stuff. Let's go back over here, though. Game just bought more ETH. I know. I don't know if I posted about it, but I did hear that. Maybe I should post about it. Let's just look over here. Game Square Holdings. 1 hour ago. So let's look here. So Game Square purchased an additional 30 million of ETH, acquiring 8,351 at a weighted average of 35.92. They have a total of 10,170. So that is a pretty big jump. So that brings them, guys, from 33 to 20. As long as none of these others have leapfrogged. So 33 to 20. That's pretty cool. Can we talk about Tesla? These treasury strategies are boring. They're so far from boring. We can look at Tesla. I mean, I already did. I already looked at the chart, right? So left shoulder, head, right shoulder, measured move gets us up to 580. I think that's happening between now and the end of the year. I don't know what else to talk about with Tesla. I do think that Elon Musk is very much on board. And again, I haven't gotten good with bookmarks, so they're not really organized right now for this. But I do think that Elon is very much on board and that Tesla is going to do really well in the months and quarters ahead. I think people are just going to see that he's focused and that the company is going to do really well. The problem with that is that, well, it's not a problem, but we're talking about a gain if it hits this measured move, which again is not a bearish thesis at all. It's all new all-time highs. That's a 78% uptick in performance. And I mean, some of these treasuries can do that in a day. So I'd argue that's why they're a little more exciting. Let's look at what else we have. We already went through that. Again, the charts, you guys can pull this up. Breaking $10.8 trillion asset manager Charles Schwab is now heavily embracing crypto. They're adding spot ETH trading, its first ever offering of any crypto on their spot platform. We will have a stable coin at some point. So again, Charles Schwab, you're seeing these banks and investment firms starting to incorporate more crypto. Thoughts on Iron? Iron could do good. It's got that narrative. It's kind of been consolidating like I talked about it doing. And it's continuing to. It's kind of toppy over here. Its RSI is still sitting at about 73 on the weekly time frame, which isn't too overbought. And it's dropped a little bit. You got some bearish divergence that's formed over here on the daily when it got to about 88, 89, where I kind of said, hey, this is where I'm selling my calls. That was on July 3rd. It's July 21st. So we've had 2.5 weeks and we've chopped sideways. I already looked at SBET a couple times, guys. Maybe go back or join Discord and you can just pull up the SBET chart for yourself. So I have, for Iron, I have the peak kind of right up here. Not much higher, kind of like 120% higher than it is. This is a 4.3 billion. So I'm saying it could get to 10 roughly, $10 billion. Maybe it can overshoot that. But I think Iron could be toppy still. I don't know if I like it as much as like a Mara or a Clean Spark right now. But again, if the HPC play takes off even more, it can continue to go up more. Mara is a $6.87 billion company, and Clean Spark is a 3.59, so a little bit smaller. But again, maybe Iron outperforms that too and goes up a couple 100%. Totally possible. Jesse, your SWC chart on Discord goes all the way up to 60 by October. That would be epic. Yeah, I think it could. SWC is still growing at a huge amount. I don't know if I have. Let me see here real quick. Let me just go back to it. I don't know if that's probably too high. Let me see. SWC. Yeah, that's probably that is though. Again, this is the measured move from when it originally started. I think that might be overshooting it. That would be. I probably need to readjust this. I probably need to readjust it and be more. Yeah, I do. I don't know if that's going to be realistic at all, and I don't want to give people. It can happen. I'm going to do this though. I'm going to do a smaller move here. Again, it already got guys to 8, so that's not a crazy move. But 60 might be stretching it. So I'm going to put some more conservative numbers down here. I'm going to readjust this a little bit because I don't want it to be too crazy. So the golden retracement zone just on the next measured move is going to be. So I think this is probably better. I'm going to kill this other one. I don't want to get people's hopes too high. I think a 540% increase is really good, but again, it can go higher. If we look over here, guys, this shows you the different MNAV levels from 4 to 1, and it shows you with their rate of growth, the days to cover, and when you basically get it to where the market cap is fair market valued, no discount, no premium. So again, it can get crazy on this. This is showing that by October, if the MNAV was just 1, that the price of SWC would be 3,500. And to put that into perspective, let me find SWC here. Was that what I was on? Yeah, no, it was. All right, I wasn't under TSWCF. So SWC here. So those numbers, and I got to change this. I have it under dollars right now, which makes it a little bit confusing. But it's at 257 right now. So just showing their growth rate, even at a 1x NAV by the end of September, October, we're talking about 3,000. So we are talking about a 10x. I think that is very likely that we can do that. I think that's going to be very likely as long as they continue doing what they're doing. So I think, let me just redraw this here. I probably want to keep it. Yeah, there you go. That's like September or something like that. So I'm probably going to keep it under 50 as far as like the leap. It's probably between 23 and 50. But again, I like to be out of these things early. So for me, it would probably be like the 23 range, roughly 10x from where we're at. Please look at Seppo chart. So many friends here in New York pumping it. It's hard for me to look at that though. Is the merger already complete? Is it already complete? It's not even done yet, right? It's a reverse merger that's not done yet. And this ticker isn't even the final ticker. It's going to be like what, BTSR? So I have a hard time unless you can tell me all of the pieces of the deal with this one. Yeah, look at this, dude. Look at what fucking happened to these people. So again, just a massive pump, I guess only to 16, and then a very quick dump. Because again, we don't know if you buy SEPO right now, how much does it give you in BTSR later? Can anybody tell me that number? What do you think about Open? I don't know if I care about Open. What should I care about Open? Just tell me, like, what's going on with it. Why should I care? Yeah, so I don't know. Again, people bought into this, like, how long did this take? People bought into it here at $12. It rocketed up to 16, and then it completely plummeted back because BSTR, because people realized, oh, is this going to do something like what happened with SEP? What happened with SEP? Let's look at SEP. And people seem to have gotten a little smarter this time. So SEP, there was this announcement of the new fund, right? Went up 473%, and then it proceeded to fall 57%. So it's one of those things where, yeah, it can scream higher, and then it can consolidate because people realize, oh, how much am I getting? BSTR, just kind of like what happened with BMNR, Tom Lee's fund, which went up a shit ton. So it's just kind of like making sure that you actually understand how much you're going to own is pretty important, right? Because let's look at how far this thing went. So this thing went from $4.22 to 162, and then it proceeded to fall off of a cliff. That's when we started to get into it. But again, this thing, people didn't know what they were buying. This thing went down. Hasn't closed the gap yet either. It's still got a ways for the gap, $34 still. But it went down 77%. And then Tom started buying. And so I think people are like, if Tom's buying, I'm buying. That's kind of the way I looked at it. And so again, you don't always want to chase the new thing, guys. You can get totally wrecked that way. Morning Sir chart update on SBET. I already looked at that one a couple times already. And I posted it to Discord too, where you have it available to, or I thought I did. Here, no, maybe I actually didn't look at the chart. So again, SBET did fill a daily gap. So there's the big move. This is another example of people chasing, right? So this thing in a period of 3 days went from 279 to 124. And then people proceeded to get raped as this thing fell. What was it? 93% in the next several weeks. And then it went back up. It filled the gap that it had over here, this large gap. So we took some profits on the way up and started investing in other things. And then it went up even more. We took more profits, moved some of it into BMNR, moved some of it into game. And then it fell down here. And now it has closed this gap over here. There are still a couple of baby gaps underneath, but I think SBET's sitting pretty good, up 6.52% on the day. Let's see here real quick. And thank you for the 279 Canadian, my friend, and for being here first. Tommy JR on Discord is a legend. Awesome. Matt at Moves. Jesse, if crypto takes share of payment processing, will companies like Block, ADN or Adyen and PayPal and Toast just go burst? I think they're going to have less relevance as they're probably all going to embrace crypto. First off, I think a lot of them are talking about doing that. But I do think traditional banking will start to die off. They'll join the fold. I think they're getting a bid right now. Hood's getting a bid from what's going on. SoFi's getting a bid from what's going on. And a lot of these payment alternatives to regular banks have done really well recently. But I do think that they're going to lose steam, right? I do think that they're going to end up losing out a little bit as people end up moving away from these eventually and just realizing they don't even need the middleman at all, that they're just a wrapper. I don't think their margins are going to be as good. Let's just put it that way. Sequoian's still up 12.21% in pre-market. I think that one will end up doing good. We'll see where everything races to today. Again, I've got about 300,000 sitting on the sidelines, about 350 actually, almost 400. I might end up using some of that and doing a little bit of dippity buying today. So look for my posts. But I also have a crazy busy morning today as well. So I don't know. We'll see how much I end up actually doing. Real quickly, I'm just updating something on my screen down below. Let's go back here. So again, everybody's buying. Everybody's buying. I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. Jesse, thoughts on open stock, open door technologies? I don't know. What kind of thoughts am I supposed to have on it? What are you guys interested in the ticker? Has it run a bunch? Is that why people are asking about it? Let me pull it up over here if Visual Stocks is up and running. Let me see if I can find it. I'm guessing that it's been running and a bunch of people are talking about it. And that's why all of a sudden it's something we want to speak about in here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Everybody's interested when things are going up a lot. So this thing was 53 cents. Now it's 225. So it's went up 5x, 400%. And so now people are interested in it. Everybody loves those 400%. So this is homes purchased. These guys purchase homes, sell homes. The home market has been horrific. They're still losing tons of money. They lost $85 million in Q1 with 1.13 or 53 billion in revenues. I guess their debt's getting lower, but they're just diluting shareholders. I don't know what's to love on this. Maybe short interest being 22%, but it's went up 5x since when? Since June. So I don't know that I would jump into this. People who chase just get fucking destroyed, guys. So I don't know if that's a good idea. Square up 9% for some reason. I mean, they did join the S&P. There's probably a pretty good narrative on that. Sam, Sequoians now holds 20. Yep, we posted about that earlier. That's looking good. Bro, can you give last updates on Mara? Yeah, Mara's doing good. It's up 0.82% in pre-market. Again, I don't know what today's going to hold for this stuff, guys. Maybe it doesn't go up much, but Mara had a short-term top over here at 2150. That actually worked out pretty good for me because, again, I sold some of my options on that too, at least my September ones, and was able to gather some of that cash to be used for my house down payment and also to buy the dippity dip. But this is where we're sitting right now. We are above peak volumes over the shorter time frame here. So after getting washed out pretty hard underneath the support line, Mara is breaking up higher. Mara will get really fun when it goes up about another 35%, because then we'll be in a nice breakout from a descending broadening wedge. And that, I think, the measured moves for Mara could get as high as the 60 range. But the golden retracement is 117% up from here, which should put my calls really deeply in the money. Can't find an updated chart on MSTR on the Discord. There should be one there. If it's not, I'll check it and I'll get it in there. I've got to add the other charts too. I want to add all of their other vehicles in the Discord, so I'll check that out. It looks beautiful though right now, man. So I'll refresh right here. So again, we talked about the measured move that's going to be happening from this because of the cup and handle. This being the cup, this being the handle, and then back testing it perfectly last Friday. And now I think we're ready to go up. I think that was the last big washout before going higher on MicroStrategy. And I think today, guys, I'm probably going to jump before the bell goes. So I'm probably going to get out of here real quick. So again, hope you have a great day. On Wednesday, when I'm back, I will actually be doing... I'll be doing more of news-related events and have all my bookmarks and all that fancy stuff. But for now, you guys take it easy. I will see you Wednesday, and I will see you online. And again, feel free to check out the Discord for the charts. If anything's missing, let me know. Otherwise, you guys have a great day, a great start to your Monday. I hope everybody makes a bunch of money. And if things are going down, I'm probably buying the dip, and I'll let you guys know what it is. Peace out.